Welcome back. We're here with Senator-elect Lankford talking about his experience running for office and now making the transition to the U.S. Senate. Let's start right there. Why did you decide to run for the United States Senate?
Yeah, it was really, for me, it's the same as when I ran for Congress. This was an overwhelming sense that we were supposed to do this. I'm, again, very proud of what we're doing in the House. I think we've made some very good progress in several areas in the House and been able to really speak out for the district that I represent in the 5th District of Oklahoma. But this is something our family all had to pray about together. We got the rumor really out there that this was coming and had to make a decision. A lot of folks came to us and said, we want you to do this. And we said, hey, we're in the House. We're doing what God's called us to do. That's what we're going to stay on. And our whole family really spent November and December beforehand that really praying this through. Are we going to do this? We agreed, all four of us, by both my daughters, my wife and I had to all agree on it because this affects all of us and we're all in this. And so by the very end of December, we all came back and said, we feel like we're supposed to do it. And so then we waited. And Dr. Coburn, sure enough, announced that he was resigning early. And so we took off from there. So it's been quite a journey for the past year.
And within less than a year from that point, nearly 7 of 10 Oklahoma voters cast their vote for you. And this is somewhat fascinating in terms of American political history that nearly 48 months earlier to the day, most Oklahomans around the state would never have voted for you or had the opportunity to before. What was that sense of accomplishment like, or what did that feel like for you and your family?
Really, for us, as strange as it sounds, we treat this like a job interview. A lot of folks talk about campaign and campaign structures. I don't come from a political background, so my only point of reference was job interview. So I took the whole thing as a long, very long job interview, and to be out and interview with as many people as possible. And election day is nothing but the day that the selection committee gets together. They say, we've interviewed all the different folks for this job. Who are we going to actually hire to do this job? At the end of it, it's no big accolades from me and my family and my name and all that stuff. There's just a lot of folks that have said, that guy represents our values. I think he can do the work. Go do it. And they should be able to say, I'm going to watch everything that you do, but I'm not going to worry about you because I think you're going to do the work. And my job is to say, thank you, I appreciate the trust on it, and go actually do the work.
Having been around Oklahoma politics for a while, there was something I recognized this last election cycle as a campaign season was going on that we haven't seen before. I'll give you an example. When I was in Claremore talking with a group, there was someone that you had been involved in their church a decade before, and the fact that they now had an opportunity to vote for you and to work with you as they were feeling again was very moving to them and inspirational. They were excited about that opportunity, and you don't always see folks excited about going to the polls today in politics. Did you see that all across the state, and how did you handle that experience?
Yeah, we picked that up from people, and it's people that I had the opportunity to be able to do ministry with or interact with all over the state. I had folks that said, gosh, there's a lot of Baptists that voted for you, and I'm smiling and said, well, you know, as a Baptist, I wish there were that many of us to be able to have that big of a vote. There's not. There are a percentage, obviously, all scattered around the state. But yeah, there are people and relationships that I have in different places that have extended their trust, that we've worked together before, that knew me not as a politician, but knew me as a person and what my family is like and who I am and the values that I walk with. And I'm just going to try to take those same values into this task and say, let's go do the task.
You referred to this as a job interview, so let's talk about the business that you've been doing and will now do in the role in the U.S. Senate. Starting with oversight, you're very committed to oversight and have taken a leadership role there. Why is that? What is it about oversight that you're so involved in?
Really, two big areas that we're dealing with as a nation right now. One is a federal government that the administrative part of the state has just overwhelming every other part of government. That's an oversight issue. The second part of it is really a budgeting issue. Over 17, now pushing $18 trillion in debt, hopelessly out of balance with a deficit. So that's going to take multiple years. That's not a single year. That's not a one vote. We can get back into balance. This is not like a car loan anymore, where you can say, okay, if I scrape together everything, I probably could. It'd be really painful to be able to pay off the car payment, but I could pretty quickly do that. This is like a big, giant jumbo mortgage. So for me, the two big issues, oversight and budget, all go together. We're never going to get our budget under control until we get real oversight of the agencies. And quite frankly, what's happening right now in the federal government is completely inconsistent with what our framers put together. They wanted to have a strong Congress, an executive branch that would check the Congress, basically with the veto power there, a judicial branch that would watch and protect the liberties. And what we have now is this large regulation state where the regulators actually make the majority of the decisions, and Congress votes very rarely.
You touched on a couple points there about the administrative and the role of the executive, and that seems to be a central theme now with probably the newest topic or the hottest topic right now in American politics is immigration and the action of the president. Is that what we're seeing in this issue?
It is. This is the president saying, I think I have enough power to do this, and so I'm just going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to extend power and change basically law. And while he's saying, I'm not changing the law, I'm not trying to create new law, he is actually changing the law. And around Thanksgiving, I mean, we all understand pilgrims and immigrants and the founding of our nation and all those things. We're not an anti-immigrant nation, but we are a nation of laws. We do want to do the right thing and also do it the right way. And so that's extremely important. The night before the president spoke with his big announcement when he made his big speech in the White House and presented this new concept out there, that same night, the Office of Legal Counsel released out their legal opinion about what the president was about to do and said this is inconsistent with the president's legal authority. So we literally have a president where the Office of Legal Counsel for the president is saying this is not consistent, and the president stepping in and saying, I'm going to do it anyway because it's a compassionate thing to do. We're compassionate people, but the law is primary. This is an area where we have to make the primary thing to follow the law, because if we ever violate law, then it doesn't matter what the rest of the policy is.
Another issue that is pretty important here in Oklahoma, but is getting a lot of national attention, of course, is Keystone Pipeline. Vote came up on that a few weeks ago, and we saw how that went. That's probably going to be one of the big issues you tackle in the U.S. Senate. What are your thoughts on Keystone Pipeline?
Keystone Pipeline is one of those things that's become a symbol of the federal government at this point. We can get the oil out by train. We can get it out by truck. There are other ways to do it. It's more expensive. It's not as safe as moving it out by pipeline. It can be done other ways. But it's really become this symbol of, does the federal government have the ability to basically not give an answer to anyone that asks for a permit and to create an opportunity for them to say no without saying no? We saw it with the IRS, where the IRS with conservative groups wouldn't tell them yes or no on their tax-exempt status. It would just say wait. And for years, they would be on hold. They're doing the exact same thing with the Keystone Pipeline. They're not saying no to the Keystone. They're just saying wait. 6 years now, more than the last 6 international pipelines combined in permitting. It's this ridiculous, absurd thing to say, make a decision whether it's a pipeline or not a pipeline. But this symbol of, does the federal government have so much power that they can just say to someone, we'll never answer your question until you go away? I would say no. The federal government has a responsibility to be able to actually make the decision.
Well, folks, we'll be right back after this, and we're going to come back with the lightning round and some questions about Senator-elect Lankford's Thanksgiving experience, just like yours. Stay tuned.